in 2018 and lasting until the end of this year. So we are now representing the partners of the consortium. So starting from myself and my colleague Alessandro Bretta from Fondazione Edmund Mack, we are the lead partner of the consortium. Then from our region in the north of Italy, in Trentino, we have for the University of Trento, Professor Sara Favargiotti, Professor Marco Ciolli, and Angelica Penegonda, that is supporting us in delivering our activities. Then from the Hub Innovation Trentino, that is the agency supporting the innovation for the Trentino Research Innovation Ecosystem, we have Elisa Morganti, that also she's the vice lead of the project, and Veronica Barchetti. Then from Scandinavia, we have Anna Turnell. She's supporting the city of Gothenburg, although she's based in Denmark, if I'm right. And then from our UK hub, representing and supporting the Birmingham City Council, we have the representative of the Birmingham City University, Professor Catherine Moore, and Dr. Anastasia Nicolo Gianni. Then also we have representing our financier, sponsor, we have our newly appointed Lisa Schumacher. She is now the officer of IT Climate Kick, supporting SATURN since a few days, and with her official participation, her first official participation to the project right now today. And I saw that there are already some of the participants that are already registered and will be happy to attend to our meeting. So I bring in my starting from the center north of Europe, I'm bringing my greetings to Simon Gregors from Wrocław in Poland. Then we have going to our countries from Italy. You have Ilaria Fumagalli for the city of Brescia, and Lisa Sentimenti from AES, based in Emilia-Romagna, the region of Bologna. And then we are going down to Greece with Athanasios Mikalopoulos from the municipality of Pania. And not last, and then also still staying in Greece, we have Katerina Riviu from the, I'm not able to pronounce the right name of the institution. Please, someone from Greece support.
Ελληνογερμανική Αγωγή.
Okay, so the German Hellenic Institute. And then also we are landing into the Mediterranean Sea, heading to Cyprus with Anixi Antona Kaudi, if I pronounce it right. So it seems that most of the attendees are here with us. We are just waiting for, I hope that someone others from the city of Rovereto will join us. We have some people that already excused for the absence, like the deputy mayor of the city of Valdagno in the north of Italy, and Professor Bruno Marques from the Wellington University in New Zealand. Now we're just including also Guillermo Palau from the Universidad Politécnica de Valencia. So, as you know, as many of you are aware, when we are doing these kind of activities, because since a couple of years, we're not meeting in person each other, so maybe it was more difficult to meet each other in this short time invitation and so on. We are making this kind of meeting. Also, we are not having an attendance list, but actually we are forced to have a picture, a group picture. So actually, I kindly ask if all of you can switch on the camera and just wait that I will take some snapshot, and so actually we can put in our reporting. So I saw Guillermo, and so I hope that also our friends from Poland, Sara and Katarina, if they could do it, they can switch on the video, and I'll just make the picture right now. So I don't know if Sara, she's coming, but in any case, I will make the picture right now. So smile and welcome on board. Also, so now also we have Sara camera switch on. So maybe some of you already get some hints what's going on today within the invitation you received, or maybe through some exchanges we made directly with you during the last days or the last week. We are, like a project, we are entering in the very last part of our activities. So we are entering the last semester, just a few days we entered the last semester of activities as under the coverage and the support from receiving from the AT Climatic. But the objective, as is written already in the official proposal, is to go ahead behind the hand of supporting of the project. So actually, the idea is to try to find new way to go ahead with our activities. The main aim of the project is, as is written in the title, to create this kind of new relationship between rural and urban territories, with a key objective focusing on sustainable land use as a way to challenge the climatic emergency that is affecting not only our territories, our continent, but also our world. So today, as part of our last semester of activities, we are presenting some sort of intermediate and advanced outputs that we have been generated through our pilot cases activities and the work conducted with our stakeholders in our territories. Our geography is pretty different. We go from Scandinavia to UK to Italy, and moving from big dimension like the metropolitan area of Birmingham, more than 3 million inhabitants, to the small hamlets of Trentino with in some cases a few hundred of inhabitants. But the challenges, although the different topography dimension and policy situation are more or less the same. With the presentation we are introducing to you today is just the opportunity to give you some hints in what we are producing so far, and maybe what we can be able to refine and test with your support until the end of the project, and hopefully behind. So this is my first introduction. I will come back later during this meeting. Because I'm moderating this session all together with Elisa, and now I give the floor to Elisa that will introduce the specific scope of this meeting. Elisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alessandro. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Elisa Morganti from AB Innovazione Trentino. As Alessandro already said, AB Innovazione Trentino is the foundation in Trentino that is dealing with technology transfer and innovation. And we supported this project since the beginning, following all the aspects of the action, but most of all the part related to the sustainability of the project itself. The activities, the project is now at its last year of the work plan, and many things happened in these years. So there were a lot of work in developing some very useful, interesting tools for that will be shortly presented after my introduction, and to also build
we freeze Elisa. or I guess what he was aiming to do it, to tell it. So actually the objective of this part that is composing the work package number 3 of the project is really to looking forward to the sustainability of the project. So also is combining from activities carried out in work package number 1 on stakeholder engagement and WP2 on the definition of framework of tools. Is really to try to engage other territories to really adopt and deploy what we created during this last period. I hope that meanwhile, now it's completely disappeared, Elisa. So actually, maybe as a suggestion from Catherine, if you could, maybe we can try to remove some. Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're back.
I have a connection problem. Sorry for that. So I'm sorry for this problem. But I don't know if Alessandro said something why I was trying to reconnect. But what I was trying to say that what emerged from this action are some interesting approaches and tools that can be really shared and create value for our target stakeholders that are mostly public authorities dealing with sustainable planning. And what we want to do here with you now, that are mostly representing our main target or strictly involved related with them, is that to present you these results and the approaches and the tools that we developed, and want to work with you to obtain your feedback. If the approach we used is what is the value that can be produced by the approach that we used in this project, and also to share with you our plan for really bring for exploiting the results of this project. So I don't want to talk more, because I think there are a lot of things to share, and my colleague prepared a very interesting presentation to share with you. And so I think the best thing is what we are doing now is to have 3 different sections related to the 3 main results that we want to share with you. And we will have a short presentation by the main responsible of these results, followed by questions by you or comments, and other. And then we will follow. We will go to the second and third results, and then finally have some comments about this approach. So I think I have nothing to add now, and maybe we can start. With the first presentation of the first result. I can just name here the 3 main results we are going to present, but you will have more information later on. So the first one is I don't know if I'm using the old name, but Angelica and the other colleagues will use the new one because it's more relevant. This is related to the first results related to rural-urban metabolism. Then we have a tool, a result related to visioning. And the third one is related to model farm and farm incubators. So we can start, I think, with the first one. I don't know who from Trento want to present the first results. And please share your screen and start the presentation. You have more or less 7-8 minutes to present it, and then to allow some time for questions.
Can you share the slide, Angelica? Okay, nice to meet you here. I am Marco Sciolli from the University of Trento, and what we are presenting here is the rural-urban metabolism and the human appraisal plugin. Next slide. Why we developed this tool? There is a growing request for processes and tools that allow and help to support different adaptive and sustainable territorial plans. These is in Italy are named with some acronyms like PNNR, PAESC, and so on, but it is quite common in Europe to have something very similar. But doing this through a scientific methodology. What we are investigating here is rural-urban metabolism, which aims to calculate and analyze the anthropic pressure of on the natural heritage and resources in a given region. And it is something that it allows to support local administrators to develop the mentioned adaptive and sustainable plans. So it is something that is integrated in this. How we can do this and how we tried to develop this tool. This rural-urban metabolism is a step-by-step approach, and actually a digital tool that improves the capability of understanding the problems connected with sustainable land use by mapping, quantifying, evaluating, monitoring the use and provisions of resources. And By doing this, it deals with the mitigation and adaptation strategies to climate change and facilitates an effective planning and gives a methodology to select strategies aimed to implement sustainable urban and territorial planning. Next slide. What is the problem regarding this? The planning process requires a broad vision and actual land use, as well as ecological, social, and territorial aspects to collect a large number of data in a harmonized and structured way. This is not simple at all. This is very complicated. And also it needs a lot of experience, a lot of capabilities to find data, to put them together, to analyze them. So it is a quite complex problem. And also to know the process that brings you in that direction. And normally the public administration have a lack of economic, technological, and human resources to manage these kind of landscape issues that allow to define this idea of rural urban metabolism and how it impacts in the urban environment and in the rural environment that is around the areas. Which is the solution to try to find that we try to find actually is to support the local authorities in the process, and this is doing by reading, understanding, redesign the landscape, but also finding a lot of data, which is quite complicated, and to try to understand which are the more relevant for the general process. And once this has been done, we try to calculate a region given anthropic pressure and to define possible solution. And this is done through a semi-automatic procedures in a GIS. Specifically, it is a plugin of QGIS, which is a very used open source GIS software. We actually decided to go for the open source technology as a choice. The open source technology actually allows us to share everything, the software, the process with all the people and the organizations that are involved in this general process. This support can be also enlarged using some other indexes or some other calculations, like the green cover mapping or other kind of thing that can be specifically calculated according to the availability of the data in a given region. And then this, the result is a spatially distributed result. So it gives a spatial idea of how much an area is overtaking the limit of the sustainability. Next slide. We were asked to actually to identify some of the possible competitors in that can actually compete with this kind of approach, and we tried to identify this in a sort of enterprise vision. And but basically there are some organizations that do similar things, but not the same thing that we are doing in our specific rural urban metabolism project. And there are some other research teams that are working on similar things that actually can be in the long term considered more, instead of competitors, maybe cooperators or collaborators, because we may work together and do something together, as we already done with some of them. We have started to do with some of them. And one of the main things is that this process is characterized by a strong adaptability and the capability to tailor the actions to a specific context. So this is the idea, to do something that can be tailored to a specific context in different nations, in different situations. Next slide. And actually, we were asked also to give an idea of the market, so which are the target market that can be involved in this. We identified public and private authorities involved in environmental assessment and sustainable planning. in general, I mean, that can be interested in this kind of process. And so actually the customer segment may be municipalities, agencies, governments, measures, ministry, and any other actor that is in charge of strategic planning activities, maybe also private, I mean, organization that need help to develop some of these specific analysis of extraction of data or processing. And potentially the largest business sector representative is, for example, the farming union, cooperatives, and that are releasing sustainability reports. Angelica, if you want to.
Our idea is to create a university spin-off, and we are trying to create a different, we are trying to develop different activities that can be done, and our users can create the most fitting package accordingly to their specific needs. So, for example, they can decide to calculate the anthropic pressure, or maybe we're trying to develop a process called the stakeholders engagement, or other activities that we are currently developing. Our idea is to create an internal beta version of our software in September, and test it with our partners here in Trento, in Birmingham, and in Gothenburg in Sweden. And our aim is to create the final version of this plugin by 2021. And in this stage, we will test the plugin with our early adopters, that could be our satellites, cities, and territories. Our main impact is to create an innovative and collaborative problem-solving model, which is the room approach, and with the aim to better manage the resources, in particular the natural resources of a given territory. And another important aim is to increase the participation of the public administrations in the participation in calls, in particular in international funding projects. And our team is made up of young researchers and freelance professionals. And our main skills are the creation of a process that is based on a scientific approach, and offer our technical competencies. And moreover, our team is composed of freelance professionals that can give us an enterprise experience. And finally, we can propose the participation in calls, as I said before, and trying to have a fundraising. So here, Marco, do you have something else to add?
No, that's it. I hope we stayed in time, because actually I didn't time but
yes, great.
Or maybe Sarah? Sarah, do you have something to add?
No, I think it was perfectly explained. So I just leave maybe the floor for, I don't know how the works is, if the presentation, if you have some question on or specific.
No, now we have questions on this topic.
Cool.
So I know that knowing all of you is not easy to put everything in a few minutes, but I think that you passed the main the main aspects to the audience now. So we would like to have questions, first of all, from our participants, but also feedback on this approach, and also if you have some proposal, idea to integrate, to use this kind of software in your daily activities, or maybe not daily, but to improve what we are currently doing. So please, the floor is open. You can ask or switch on your microphone or write in the chat as you prefer.
Anixi?
Yes. Hi. I have a question. It's, first of all, this is a very interesting concept, idea, and actually software, because it's something the GIS basically tool is used a lot in decision making for taking supporting decision making. So I would like to ask you whether you have had any, I would say, pilot running with real users, real data, if you've tried it with some municipality or addressing some policy issues, assisting in decision making. That's it.
Nice, thank you for the question. And actually, we tested this in Trentino, in our in the region in which we are working, and the plan is to test it again with all other regions that are interested in doing this, in testing the tool, basically, which is actually I can show you just. I don't know if I can I share screen actually, Angelica? Do you know if I can? I can try. Yes, I try. Let's see what it happens. Okay, I think. Let's see if I'm able to. Okay, I should have shared one of the. This is our prototype of the. It is within QGIS. And it is our biocapacity tool that is actually developed on within as a plugin in QGIS. So what you say here is what actually you can put in terms of data, and it is already running, as I said, and so. This is just this is the one that we are actually used for to test in our first testing, and we are developing it because we are trying to make it better day after day, and the testing will be crucial. Actually, will be because the thing is developing things like that becomes something important once you have tested on real data, on real situation, something like that. So this is a process. Partially we've done it, and maybe Angelica can add something about that. And partially we are going to do further testing. This is another. Probably one of the goals of our meeting today is also to understand if you may be interested in doing something like that. No, Angelica, if you want to add something, or Sarah, or whatever, regarding the question.
Maybe just adding that, yes, in testing in our territories in Trentino, we also produce the relation between biocapacity and ecological footprint, and we map and we visualize. We didn't include in this very short presentation, except we mentioned very briefly. But so we have already the results of this process of this data information. So the idea, as previously mentioned, it's in these last months of the research, it's evaluating the process within our territories in Saturn. But for sure, so far, it seems that it works. We have just to test how could it work, for example, using data from other countries. Now, it's the main aspect is working with GIS. It's also the source of information, but we already site-based all this process by using the main list of foods, of elements that are known or shared at the European level, like using the general, let's say, category of flows, especially in foods related, that are shared at European level, so that can somehow share it is not very much specific to the category of local food, but it's something already shareable somehow. So we have already used some of this specific attention in the data used.
I was going to ask how the data is gathered. because it's quite a painful experience gathering data, and in order for this to have an impact, I mean, to get specific data for the region, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding the data collection, and maybe Angelica can add something about that, but we tried to develop the tool in this way. If there are very specific data available for the region, so you can really go through very in deep with very precise data or very spatial related data, you can use these data on specific for the region. Otherwise, the idea is to use generic information that can be downloaded from external databases. So this is the process. And also this idea is also dictated by the idea that we want to do something that can be, that the whole process can be reproducible. So, I mean, if you can use generic data from an area and the same generic data from in another area, you can compare what comes up. So this is, and also you can, in your area, in your specific area, if you have more specific data, go in deep and give some more precise results. So this is the general idea that we actually developed, we are developing. I mean, there are some things that are with tuning still.
Okay, may I add something? Or?
Yeah, hi, may I ask a question, or there's anyone that?
I guess that was Simon before you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simon?
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot. I've noticed that you are working also on about the carbon footprint and carrying capacity, and this is also our topic. So we are ready for testing all your plugins, of course, and I will show you here in the chat window. This is our area we can work on. It's a little bit much bigger than our data is collected now, but I can start talking with these people. This is organization of municipalities around the Wrocław city. We have already some data, but for smaller area. Actually, the works of Dr. Schwonder, you can follow the maps which are given in these papers, and carbon footprint and carrying capacity was calculated already. But we can enhance and match for much bigger area. We can talk with these people. I think that they will be very interested in. So we have some signal from local governments, then carbon footprint could be very, very interesting for them. So I believe that all specific data can be collected directly from these municipalities. But I believe that. But we need to I think that some kind of small grant or some project with these people could be provided. And of course, methodology and topic is very, very interesting for us. We are also in these topics from the years. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Simon. I will, I guess, give the floor to Ilaria Fumagalli, City of Brescia, to speak.
Yes, thank you. Hi to everyone. Just maybe stupid question, but I'm not in the topic so much, so I don't understand which is the real output of this methodology. So a municipality, like for example the municipality of Brescia, what will get from this kind of QGIS methodology, which is the there are some maps or I didn't understand exactly the output, but maybe it's just because I'm not really in this topic. So just a little clarification, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, I just try to summarize a little bit about it, but maybe Angelica and Sarah can help me if I miss something. I mean, the whole process gives back maps, which are a map that gives back how much a sort of balance of the sustainability, the general sustainability of an area. So this is, they give maps, and they are also contribute, because also the data gathering is also something that gives back something, because it is it makes it improves the knowledge of your own area. So while you are gathering data during the process, you are also knowing better a lot of things that are going on in your own territory. So this is sort of you have some deliverable, let's say, that you have in the end, like maps or other indexes that are calculated. But you have also that the whole process is something that enriches the information and the knowledge of the area in which you are working and which you are living. Actually, I don't know if Angelica and Sarah want to add something about it.
Yes, I can. If I can add something, I just simply want to add that the value of this process, I would say, or approach, is exactly to offer accompanying stakeholders or people interested, administrations in this process, which through the use of this tool of the data of the plugin itself, but just only to implement what Marco said, that the process itself can support to understand the problems, the quantify or updating, helping in updating regularly the process, the flows regarding foods, energies, and whatever, all the flows that impact in the metabolism of the territories, and clarify, as you mentioned, the quality of the sustainability or not, the balance or not of a territory. So it's exactly like that, supporting in the collecting information, gathering, collecting, mapping, representing through maps, so, and data and and the numbers, of course, quantifying in that sense, evaluating if it's a positive, negative, this impact, and somehow this process can also support in monitoring, because have given this approach or have set this approach, this structure, it can be implemented and updated through times during the year. So evaluating after 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, what's the balance, if it's changed, if it became better, worse, and so also thanks to that, supporting the taking and making decision making in I don't know, so to saving some reserve some areas that need to implement some ecological and ecosystem services, natural services, or some helping and supporting to drive some solution in the transformation of the territory. I don't know if it was clear enough.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So are we talking about also ecological services and the sustainability of the territory? So there will be some maps or data that helps the administration to plan the territory. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for these questions. I think that we also can share contact. I think you already have some of the contacts, and then go deep on these topics. And one thing is that for sure the GIS is the plugin is very useful, but needs to be supported by experts that will really help to understand the data, collect the data, and the results of what is emerging from that. So I think maybe and this is how the groups in general want the project partners was also to use and exploit these results, giving also the support to the municipalities that needs this tool to move forward with their planning. So I think now it's time to pass to the second result, and then I think we will have time also at the end of the meeting or in other moment to have more questions. So I kindly ask Anastasia.
Hi, hello.
I don't know who, I think Anastasia to share
Yeah.
the second one.
Hello, good afternoon from me. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me just share my screen. So hopefully you can see that now. I just need to say that Birmingham is responsible on behalf for SATURN. We are responsible for the visioning part as well as the stakeholder engagement and the capacity building. However, we've tried and we've agreed that we are going to launch first the regional special vision for a simple reason that this is a tool. I think we have not just a tool but an approach that we have already launched and tested, not just within SATURN but also in a greater scale in the UK. So can you see? Yeah. You can see my screen moving, hopefully, because I had some trouble.
Yes.
Thank you, Elisa. So what is our value proposition? What is regional special vision, let's say? So we're saying, we're using it with one phrase, like imagining the art of the possible. That's what we're trying to do. We want cities and regions to see and explore what is possible for them and how they can create resilient cities and sustainable cities in the future. So the tool, in a way, is a way to understand their challenges, find ways to overcome these, reduce any costs they have, maximize land value, and optimize investments. And why, I'm going to go into that in a minute in the problem, but cities usually have fragmented landscapes and deprived areas. They have areas where they have challenges and some areas that they are, quite wealthy, let's say. So what we're trying to do is give them a coherent, a holistic approach for the future, incorporating environmental, economy and elements, as well as business elements and community and social aspects. How we're going to do that? So we work together with the cities in cross-sectoral or multidisciplinary, let's say, cross-disciplinary landscape-led approaches. So we're not just coming and telling you what to do, but we're working with you in the whole kind of program. And we need to highlight, I think, in this aspect that this tool, this approach is being built to apply across Europe in different countries and different regions or towns or cities, doesn't matter the scale. But the whole idea is not that one size fits all. We use the principles, the best practices we have developed, and based on the topography or the community and the social challenges that each region is facing, then we're trying to make you develop a special vision for your area. So the problem, what are we tackling? Usually the cities, as I said, and regions are fragmented. So sometimes they ignore the value of their own land, or they're not able probably to create a sustainable and coherent spatial plan. So we tend to solve little problems here or there, transport or health or housing, for example, and we forget about the bigger picture. So this approach is about regions or towns or cities, and we're aiming to support them create this this idea or this more than one are probably ideas that fits their own area, their topography, and their social or community profiles. So the cities, what we tend to see, especially where we've tested in the UK and also within the SATURN in Trento and Gothenburg, is that cities have not changed despite all the different projects that being tried out. So we have multiple projects being tried out either on housing scheme or transport or in deprivation areas, etc. But the city filling or the city let's say special structure, it hasn't really changed. So we cannot see a big development or improvement in terms of sustainability and landscape. Sometimes leaders have challenges or are stuck, let's put it that way, and they don't have the capacity, let's say, to change the system either because of money or because of ideas or all sorts of different reasons. So the result is that we end up with lots of different issues and problems in this city. So this is what we're trying to tackle. And what do we offer? So I would say that what we're trying to do is create a pathway to your city's vision. That's what we're trying to do. It's a visioning process from the concept stage to implementation, and a tool to reimagine the future of regional territories, including towns and cities, agriculture and nature, water, air, soil, everything that you can imagine outside of your front door, let's put it that way. So we have the ability to work with cities and create an approach on what they want to do, what is needed, and even how to create it. So the designs, if necessary, and a tool to reimagine the future of your area. So we offer the coaching or the training with specific experts. We offer workshops. We also have an awards program that you can join or come along, making your city a sustainable, like a national park, as this initiative is. I'll explain in a bit that it's coming from a whole broader idea in Birmingham. And what in general, what we're trying to support with, or what our tool or approach is offering, is give you a more sustainable and holistic idea for your area. The target market, I think, is similar to what the Trento has already as a target market. So the main target is regional or city planning decision makers. The reason we've put decision makers is because it's a group that making decisions and say yes or no, let's say green or black, to the future development of their cities. However, with that being said, we have already identified customer segments. And how we've done that, as I explained briefly before, what we've tried to do, we have already tested and created basically this approach in something called the West Midlands National Park in the UK. We have a lab already there launched, and we have been approached by several different public and private organizations and institutions. So the different segments we could support are any kind of public health, national health trusts, utilities like water organizations, energy organizations, or transport organizations. We've been approached and we collaborate with big sport events like the Commonwealth Games coming up in Birmingham next year in 2022. And we also have links, and we could support through this approach with the private or public sector partnerships like education, research, or any kind of historic landscapes and institutions. The competitors, so what we are saying is that this cross-silo approach doesn't really exist in this capacity. So our competitors really is the habit of doing things the same way. So there are traditional regional planning services, the ways we've used already, we have been using for years and years, dealing with these regional planning services that we offer, and solutions that they tend to focus either in one discipline or, solving specific issues and not reaching out to the whole spectrum of climate crisis or environmental challenges, for example. There are also some specialist consultancies who have some commonalities with what we're doing, but not exactly in that way in how we're doing it. So our approach, I think, is more holistic and innovative in a way that it allows for collaboration between the decision makers, but also stakeholders of the area, education parties or organization of the area, and the public. And this is where we are trying to develop a kind of coherent business model. So at the moment, the final model is currently being developed, and that's why we have the coming soon there. We have already established the West Midlands National Park Lab in the UK, in Birmingham, which looking into various opportunities, into probably spin-off options or other funding opportunities, working with cities and regions in the area. But what we can tell is that we have already started, collaboration in that. So the business model is, we have customers like cities, regions, city development organizations and different institutions. Our users, in a way, is the whole public, because what we're trying to do is develop an approach that will be exploited by everyone, experts and professionals, but the users of the tool, so all this mechanism we're developing is more about decision makers and professionals and experts. Either these are within the city or within the other organizations. So when are we ready to launch? In a way, we have already launched it, because we're testing it with the West Midlands Combined Authority. It's the first pioneer city that has formally approved, engaged with this, and it's actually using it. The West Midlands National Park approach is using it to drive as a vehicle, let's say, to a green recovery post-COVID. And our approach in the UK has also been included in several governmental documents. But we have put January 2022 there because, as I explained in the business model, we're just trying to finalize some of the aspects of how to do it, or how we, the full process, let's say, of how we can engage fully with other cities. But we are open to them right now. So if you come tomorrow and tell us we're interested, or today and tell us we're interested in how we could work together, we're very happy to work with you and launch that with you. So the use model will include expert seminars, workshops, mentoring or advocacy, and then maybe research, as well as development of special visions and transformations. Of course, publications and training are into that. But that really depends of what your area, what your city needs. The impact, okay, why is this important, I guess? I think it has been very significant so far. You may wonder how is this possible, because sometimes it sounds like a huge approach that is not really tangible. Or maybe you wonder why is it so important? But as I explained, it has already been evaluated and mentioned in the UK government's special planning documents. And the fact that the West Midlands Combined Authority has chosen it as a vehicle for the green recovery post-COVID, I think is of great importance for us, and demonstrates that if we are to adapt and mitigate to climate change, we need to change our system and behavioral change. So the power of this approach is to open up new ideas and aspirations. That's what it does. Sometimes we get stuck to the problems we have, daily problems maybe, and we aim for the day-to-day solution, but the impact of this regional special visioning, comes in the long term. So with the help of our experts, participants, cities participants or institution participants are able to see a future in 5, 10, 25 years time, discussing and planning how they can create a resilient city. It does not only offer a platform for discussion, though, but it is fundamental that multidisciplinary teams work collaboratively, and cross-silo approaches are being developed for this to work. So the tests and evaluations during the SATURN project have also proven very beneficial, resulting in the cities of Trento and Gothenburg. And I think we also had other cities in Italy, if I'm not wrong, probably Arco, that they have explored this through SATURN, obviously. They have explored this idea, and they're thinking that's interesting. The team, as I said, we have started with that working with the West Midlands National Park Lab, which is a team of academics and professionals working in landscape architecture, environmental challenge, etc. But we have also the SATURN team, where has allowed us to test this tool further and develop it further. So we have lots of different skills, from the landscape, all the IT kind of design skills, but as more also like social community elements that the city might need to develop this kind of broader approach. I think I'll leave it there. I'll give the floor to Catherine if she wants to add something, and to you, of course, to ask any questions. Thank you very much.
Hello, I have nothing to add, Anastasia. That was really excellent. Thank you.
So thank you, Anastasia, for this very interesting speech that you made us. And so the floor is open for questions, please.
Hello, Katerina here from Ελληνική Αγωγή. Thank you, Anastasia, and everyone for your presentations. Well, you mentioned educational providers at some point, and well, we have a dual role, but since our main capacity is that we are an educational provider, I would like to know whether you have piloted the use of the tool with, I don't know, students. Were they university students? Do you think that this tool could be used for projects for students of about 16 or 17 years old? So that is the first question I have.
Would you like me to answer that?
Thank you. Yes, please. Yeah. I was going to say, Catherine, if you want to take that on, probably you're more.
We've tested parts of this with young children to get them used to the idea of landscape that they didn't know that it existed, to know that there's a river there, and the reason their school gets wet is because the river floods and that sort of thing, in a very short workshop, which was just extraordinary. And we've also used it we've used the West Midlands National Park as the vehicle for a master's design process with students at a master's level in landscape architecture. And that was incredibly successful because they took what seemed to be a very, because they were able to look in detail at the implications of this ethos for specific areas. And that was fascinating because it had such a good impact, such a great impact on decision makers who could begin to understand what it might mean for smaller areas in the whole region. But we are just about to work with students from the Prince's Trust, which is a UK-wide organisation, who are 16, 17 or above that, who are interested in working in environmental projects. So it depends. Of course, it can be applied at any age, and what you want to get out of it depends on how we would approach it. But it's not a complicated idea. It's just an idea that we've forgotten to think about, and so it's how we can make landscape visible, how we can make its capacity visible and significant and evident in order to deal with the global challenges, and that can happen at any age.
Well, great news, thank you. And seen on the website, is it true that the project ends in end of October? I mean, if we would like to have a project or a pilot with students, what would be the time frame? If it's end of October, I'm afraid it's a little bit problematic.
So the SATURN project finishes in the end of this year. The West Midlands National Park project and these tools that we've been developing have already been in development for 10 or 15 years, and the project itself is a 30-year project, so you have plenty of time.
Yeah. So yeah, just to build on that, Katerina, is that probably the website is left to the previous. SATURN was meant to finish at the end of October, but it's now been extended by the end of December. But the whole purpose of today's seminar and other one-to-ones we're having with cities is that with all our core partners, us, Trento and Gothenburg, we don't want the project just to disappear and all the work we've done 3 years or even beyond, to just stop. So the whole purpose of today is to speak with you, see what are your challenges and your interests, and where we could plug, our tools, our support, and how we could develop that with you. Either you want to start today, or in October, or in January, for example. We have some, a time frame, obviously, available. So I hope we have the time to develop something specifically for you, either for the new academic year, I guess you're interested, or, you know, January onwards.
Well, okay, thank you. Yeah, I can imagine that you don't want to stop all these activities, well, by end of December or whenever the official closing date of the project is, but I was wondering if that could also make sense for you. I mean, okay, so then since we are quite flexible with time, yes, perhaps we could arrange some further discussions in order to design how this could be piloted in the form of a student project. And the second aspect is that I guess you are aware that we are leading the Food Shift 2030 Athens Accelerator Lab. Well, we are more or less in the middle of the project. But I would like to let you know that there are some other partners in the consortium there that have developed some relevant tools having to do with food stream and, you know, landmarks and the topography of cities, etc. So we have not yet been, so these are some experts in the consortium. We know that these tools are there. We have not started yet this process of you know, utilizing this, the use of these tools in our case, as I mentioned, in the format of projects implemented in the school. But in any case, if you are interested, perhaps I could put you in touch with the developers and I don't know, perhaps
Thank you,
do
Katerina.
some exchanges. Yeah.
I think it will be great, and this is very important for the sustainability of the activities that we did, also to go further what we already started in Saturn, and maybe start also some very interesting collaboration after, also from this meeting, but after all with other activities. So please keep in touch with all of us. I think also Nikki, she had questions to share.
Yes, I have two questions. I will make them very shortly and then you can answer. The first one concerns, for example, this is a very nice idea when people, I mean, the beneficiaries understand the value of this approach and they are all somehow engaged, because a city, let's say, organization, the municipalities, the utilities, they are quite fragmented, they are quite siloed, as you said. So one question is, do you have a concrete example of actually overcoming these bottlenecks that all this environment, complex environment, creates when they are trying to be either engaged, to come together and actually come on board to such a city redesign? And the second question is, when you propose this whole approach, do you actually accompany it with some type of business plan for the city, for the authority, some type of, you know, apart from the action plans, the costs involved, the well, suggestions on who will do the implementation, etc. So those two things. Thank you.
Thank you, Annixie. Catherine, are you not? Shall I start and you come in? Or
Yeah. Go.
So starting from your first question is that the example we've got. So what we're trying to do, what we're doing so far is not easy. It has taken years, as Catherine has said, to develop this and you know, bring everyone into the same room, to the point at some point I'm going to say it, Catherine. We propose that we lock them all in the same room and stay there, for a while. But the payoff is that we have done that successfully, to the point that this now is being recognized as a I'm not going to say green approach, but as a sustainable approach for the future. And COVID has helped into that. So the concrete example we've got is the West Midlands Combined Authority and Birmingham City Council, but it's still midway through, I think, to the point that we're now, it's formalized, but it's not completed yet. So we're still working with them into this process. We're developing the award scheme. But we have methodologies, and it takes a lot of close communication process, the visioning process, to bring everyone to the same room. However, the value, I think, and what we've seen, and that's tested within Saturn, within Birmingham and beyond, is that when we had the latest example last week, bringing another project called the City of Vision, the City of Nature, sorry, of the Birmingham City Council, a nationwide project. When you bring people from different disciplines into the same room, it was a virtual room, as you can imagine. It happened through online, and we did several activities. Of some of the activities we have planned. People tend to ease. They tend to express themselves. The way we do it is through drawings as well as ideas. So we don't, and we leave floor for people to write also or speak. So we don't exclude anyone if they're not happy to talk all the time, or if they just want to write. And our experience from that is that you get out with really, really valuable ideas or approaches that then you can take and reevaluate and use, for your city and vision. So it's a step-by-step process. It's not a, I sign up today and tomorrow you've got a great vision. You probably will you end up with that because it will come from your city and your public. But it takes a amount of time or a process to do it. So, and I'm sure Catherine will have to say something about that. But before, or do you want, Catherine, you want to respond, and then we go into question number 2? Maybe
no, let me respond to this, and then you can talk about the business plans. It has taken a long time to develop because it's it was a self-initiated project. So we didn't have somebody who said, have a look at this, Catherine. It was just, there's a big railway line proposed, and when I just began to wonder about it, begin to talk to people, the process of going to the top to make sure you get buy-in from the most senior people you can possibly get, and then beginning to socialize it and talking across the region. But the main thing, I suppose, to add to what Anastasia said, it's a question of we're now set up as a lab, a think tank that is there to inspire and to provoke and to challenge the established habits. And through doing that, giving people the opportunity to think of the art of the possible, which is what Anastasia referred to, so they can take them out of the everyday, and then with support, political support or whatever, or local support or whatever support you can get, begin to make it the day job rather than something that's extra. And that's the process we've been going through. And what's happening now is that it's really beginning to accelerate. And now we have these tools that we've developed through the SATURN project. So it really begins to be something that we can offer to other regions and cities.
Thank you, Catherine. And I think for the business plan question, I'm not sure if you mean, so we are developing a business plan for us, for how to launch the tool, and that includes from the very broad idea of what it is in a more formal way down to specifics of, how do you join, is it a membership, etc. But I think your question was mostly about the business plan for the cities. And I think this is something we have thought, but not fully developed yet. So we would, I guess, Catherine, correct me, we don't have Robin, but I guess we would be happy to support on that.
We are actually talking, it's a real issue, not just with this project, with how cities here and in the UK, how we can, especially because of Brexit, how on earth do you pay for things, and how on earth do we move outside the established systems of governance and finance and rethink it. So we're involved in talks with the Urban Land Institute and with other universities in the region and with the government, looking at how we can build different models of finance that don't rely on the traditional things that put everything in silos. So it really is about having the vision in order to have institutional change, in order to have different approaches to governance and finance. And that's what we're working on at the moment.
And I think just one little addition, I think that one of the key aspects, you know, in a way of business planning, or how we found effectively, you know, to launch it or to communicate it to people, is to look, especially for cities or regions, is to look for the costs in a long-term plan. Because cities or regions look at, you know, okay, what I have for these 2 years or 4 years, especially in Greece or Cyprus, and you know, and I need to plan or spend this in that time frame, but is actually more cost effective, and that's why I put it into our proposal as well. If you look at in this scale, if you look at in a 20-25 years timeline, and that doesn't mean you're spending everything in the 4 years, or you cannot do it in 4 years, but you need to think, because if you do something, a little thing today and a little thing tomorrow and a little thing the other day, what experience has shown is that you spend more in terms of costs, and then you don't end up with a proper plan either. So I think that has been quite significant in terms of how you deal or how you explain it to decision makers and high level professionals.
Thank you, Anastasia. And sorry, we have to pass to the third care.
Sorry.
I think it's very interesting, because you touched a very interesting point, because the visioning tool is one important first step to have a long-term vision and then go to sustainable planning. So I think once you have the long vision, you can really create a roadmap for action plan for shorter time. So create also just on business plan. I think it's also a good suggestion for the team in Birmingham to think about also this aspect while working with the visioning tool. So I want to step to the third results, and then kindly ask Anna to present this final result.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Anna Ternell, and I am from Gothenburg, Sweden, and will present the third and last case for you. I'm going to share my screen. I think I'm doing it now, if you can see. Yes. Unfortunately, my colleague Martin could not join as he's on holiday. In Sweden, everyone goes on holiday in July, but I'm still around. Oh, sorry. Yes. In Gothenburg, in Sweden, and in the SATURN project, we have 4 pilot cases. And today I'm going to focus on the market garden model farm. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go through that now. The market garden and model farm is urban farming that meets traditional forms of land use in peri-urban areas. And how do we do this? Yes, it's the municipalities and large landowners that promote and showcase a space-efficient, intensive, and yet regenerative farming method. We also have farming incubator. I'm not going to talk so much about it now, but it's where we train the farmers in both farming practices, but also in entrepreneurship and starting business. And what do we want to achieve, and why? Is to attract a new generation of farming activities and reactivate the peri-urban farmland. The problem we face up in the north, and probably at other places as well, is that we have an aging farming population and there is no generation shift. And that leads to a shrinking number of vegetable farms and other farms. We also have a sleeping peri-urban area with underutilized land. High economic threshold barriers starting up agricultural business for many farmers. We also see a lack of knowledge of new methods and models for small-scale profitable farming. and lack of physical demonstration sites for market gardening techniques, and also weakly tested business models. So the solution is to look at multifunctional land use for climate adaptation and biodiversity. So small-scale farming instead of monocultures. We also have the second part is to make use of underutilized land in peri-urban areas. Yeah, this second focus area is that we see large potential to develop the land in the suburbs, and the benefits of the peri-urban land are access to agricultural and forest land, but also closeness to market, workforce, and infrastructure. Sorry, did I fall out? And the third one is to work in multi-stakeholder processes. We see that it's difficult to be a small farmer and to succeed. So we believe that together we can achieve these goals that we have. And that includes the private sector, the public sector, and the academia in particular. I will come back to the partners. The competitors, well, we have the conventional farming, of course, that can be competitor, and also farming cooperatives. And then we have some educational stakeholders that also train in farming practices. But we don't see a very high competition in what we are doing in the model farm and market gardening, not even if we look over in the rest of Sweden. The market are public institutions, schools, kindergartens, and elderly homes. And in particular for our model farm, this is where the produce is going to the nearby public institutions. But as extended market, we also have the local restaurants and local population. And in a sister project, we have made deals with the local restaurants to buy directly from the farms. The business model, well, it's income from the lease, and other revenues and benefits are job creation, tax income, and social support savings for the community. And users are small-scale green entrepreneurs, farmers, that want to do farming in a profitable way, commercial way. And then the customers are local institutions, restaurants, and local populations. As for go to the market, right now we see that small-scale farming is a growing trend, but it still needs assistance and spreading. We do have the city's webpage and other channels, for instance, the farming school that we are working with, the regions network, and advertisement. And we see that there's a big interest in what we are doing, and we get a lot of contacts. They call us and they would like to start small-scale farming, and we can't even take everyone in at the moment. But there's a big interest. The impact we see is, and well, we hope, a new holistic perspective that can be replicable. When we test it in Gothenburg, we have the region who would like to scale it up to other municipalities, and there is an interest there as well. We have new forms of cooperation, public-private, that we have not seen before. We also have tools available for new farmers and planners, and we mentioned those before. So we have 4 tools actually related to this. Then we see increased peri-urban self-sufficiency, new jobs, and a green attractive peri-urban countryside, and a diversity in peri-urban land use that meets a lot of the sustainable development goals. The team, we are a multi-stakeholder team from private, public, and academia. The municipality is the landowner, and they manage the market garden and the model farm. The region I mentioned, they are looking into scaling up to other municipalities. The academia are agricultural education. We have the incubator and even some connected research on urban rural landscape. Then we have the private entrepreneurs, farmers themselves, and also private landowners that we are in dialogue with. They're not part so much yet, but we are talking to them. And I think that was it. Wow, I did it in 7 minutes.
Thank you, Anna. You are very quick and very precise in the description. So this is another approach that has been tested in Saturn, that to use the land in a very sustainable way, and to be also produce also value and vegetables for the cities, and it's something that can be is ready to be scaled and replicated also in other contexts and cities. So if you have question, Anna is here for that.
Maybe I should mention that we are going to have a series of workshops after the summer break, or in September, I think it is, or October, where we're going to go through the tools more specifically. This was very short, but we have quite extensive tools that we're going to discuss with whoever is interested.
Yes, yes, all of these results that are a selection of what was made in Saturn is also as I told you, this is a selection, but there is will be at the end of the project, there will be available a guide with all the tools, description and practices and suggestion and lesson learned from the pilot and the activities that we are available for all the one that we will request for it. But now if you have questions specific on this. Maybe someone that has interest to replicate or to use this model that I want to know something more.
Yeah,
yeah, sorry.
Oh, go on, please.
Well, I just wanted to mention that the city of Gothenburg is working with these activities also after the project ends. Because they find it so important to support the local farmers, and of course it's not going to be in the same scale as we're doing now, but they're going to continue with the support and the model farm. Yes.
Aniki?
Yeah, may I just, maybe it's a good suggestion. Again, I'm thinking in terms of transferability to more southern regions, which are more, the heat is quite a lot during the summer season. There is dry land, there is lack of rain, there is basically water scarcity. So farming, I mean, going to, actually, as you said, a lot of young people not really think about entering this kind of entrepreneurship activity. So, because this is another, say, they are thinking about these things, it's another barrier to entry into this market. So, would you consider maybe in the future having consultation or even partnerships with the more technological aspects to assist potential farmers, young farmers, who also are a digital generation? They are more accustomed to the digital transformation things. So to basically offer them some automation solutions, some water management solutions, things like that, for example.
Yeah, it could definitely be that. As for now, the municipality is supporting with tools, sharing tools, and support with the marketing of the, because these are all small-scale farmers. So they help them to both with the tools and with machines. And machinery could also be, as you say, digital marketing or other more advanced tools. For the moment, it's more basic tools they're working on because they're very small plots. We also have another pilot where we rent out plots for farmers where they basically do what they do themselves. We're sharing plots, and the municipality helps with the fencing, water supply, I mean, all these things. And that could be extended, absolutely, to more advanced tools or marketing or distribution even. Yeah.
Takana. So I think because actually we are more or less running out of time, that's been maybe a bit too long as we planned before, but actually we incorporated some of presenting some of the challenges of the question directly within the single cares presentation. So actually I think that I get the good rules of engaging people through Zoom meetings and something that is required that actually we can. If we ask it to be with us for 1 hour and a half, we are stopping in 1 hour and a half. So actually, that doesn't mean that actually we're stopping right now, because I think that there are more things to put on the table. It seems that actually, and I hope that some of the presentation that has been done so far will be of interest for you, for your institution, for your territories. And according to some of the points raised from some of the to some of the people that take the floor and speak during the event, it seems that actually there could be some options, some opportunities. As we say, the project we run supported from AT Climatic until the end of the year. So actually this gives us space to engage ourselves directly in some activities through this period. But actually, as you understand, some of the project is in any case they are starting earlier and looking forward behind that of the project. So actually, there are, of course, the engagement for some of our partners to still focusing and developing and fine-tuning some of these tools. But on the other side, some other options and opportunity will rise. Just speaking some of what some of you say, that actually there are some other creators that maybe could be interested to testing, to start a consultation and a confrontation about how to adopt and adapt these kind of tools. But on the other side, maybe we can have other opportunities. We know that actually maybe some actions, maybe more focusing on the educational side, as Katarina let's emerge, maybe could be also supported from some specific program education through different programs of the ET. Not only within our community, but maybe through different communities of IT, but also on other projects that maybe could be supported from the Commission, like the Erasmus+, or maybe some specific national or recovery plans that maybe we can be able to activate, of course, for each countries, or maybe transnational context, because actually we know that the Interreg activities could be also interesting. Lastly, to cite, for example, the Horizon Europe that has been recently launched. So actually, there are, as a consortium, we already started an exercise between us to individuate some specific goals on which maybe we can be willing to engage ourselves to bring forward the result of Saturn. And we already collected some interest from other territories, partners, so actually is another opportunity on which you can come to us. As anticipated, the intention is to share with you some of the presentation we did today, the video recording of today, because also we are recording also in behalf of some people that actually today was not able to attend. So actually, but they're eager to look what we are presenting, and also to share with you some further details of what we're going. And looking forward to have some specific direct meeting, because actually maybe someone of you is more interested to focus something in specific or something specific with some of our partners. Not lastly, because I'm rather optimistic of what's going on to happen in the next autumn. I will just show you like some sort of like spoiling, because actually this is not the final version of our save the date, because in more or less 3 months and something we are going to organize our final event in Trentino in the Alps, all together hopefully with the partners for Saturn, and some other will be interested to join and come along to visit our territories, to know our pilot cases, and picking up from our trees, because actually more or less the time for harvesting the apples, not only because actually apple is iconic for our territories and also is in our logo, to come, meet our stakeholder, meet our actors. As you understand, we have actors going from the academia, innovation sector, public administration majors, but also youth entrepreneurs and NGOs. So actually, is there opportunity within our project that is more or less reconnected to our experiences that have been forced to do it last year. So actually something in a hybrid. So actually you can come and do it in person, but actually followed by the social channels, and with a direct experience in meeting the producer and understanding how the landscape and the element will are changing in a way in which we can try to challenge the occurring new futures and anticipate the way in which we can find solution together. That's it from my side. So as I told you, we are sharing all the information later on. So I'm just reading we are doing in a future cities, that is a big demonstration open for project application. This up here, you can contact me via Alessandro. Okay, so thank you, Clement, to just remind to us that actually within the community of IT Climatic, we have other opportunities that actually we can be able to get, because also from the deep demonstration held in clean cities, also there is some opportunities also connected maybe with some of the climate accelerator clean cities opportunity. So.
Yeah. Just Alessandro, just to build on what you are saying, so we have. I want just to close with two. We have several opportunities for the collaboration, further collaboration with all the participants. That can be also collaboration in project or other activities, but also for the cities that are wanting to experiment and test with the tools. I think we can find an agreement in the framework of the project or outside the project, depending on the time frame. So please contact us if you want to really text, replicate, and use and buy. Who knows what we are proposing now. That's all for me. I leave Alessandro close.
Yeah, if there is not any final ending point or mark point from some of you, I thank you anyone to be here. So Evcaristo, thank you. And what is missing of language? I'm missing Polish, but I'm not so think of the way to say thank you in Polish, but I would say danke in German.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję. Okay, dziękuję. That's fine. So actually, so keep you posted, keep you tuned, and we are here. Don't hesitate to contact us. And not lastly, thank you very much to join us. I'll talk maybe in some cases a very short, information like it's happened with for our friend from Cyprus that has been contacted just yesterday, if I remember. Because actually we one of our main aim within the community of Climatic is also we are willing to engage also the RIEs countries. So actually we have a lot of countries to go from the Mediterranean, Balkans, and Eastern and Central Europe. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It was very nice to meet all of you and to hear such nice experiences and results of your projects. And please remember, we are open for the next steps and the next projects. So stay the contact with us. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. And also thank you we have also the opportunity to share an experience of some sort of exchanges of professional with hosting Malgorzata, working with Wrocław University by our colleagues in University of Trento. So actually it was really interesting and helpful experiences. So actually also this is also an opportunity for exchanging professionals.
As we said, we declared some weeks ago that we will help, so we are helping.
Okay, thank you very much. So bye-bye. I will let just you asking if someone of my colleague of the consortium will stay a couple of minutes later. Also, Lisa, if you want to stay for just a few seconds, you're more than welcome. And so I say bye-bye to the outsiders from Cyprus, Poland, Milan, and Greece. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.